The heart of high school wrestling is here in Adams County, and nobody covers it like WZBD.
You guys got a heck of a view.
It's time for Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Everybody wants to be there.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
90 minutes of interviews, results, discussions, and prognostications.
I'm excited.
As Hall of Famer Rex Brewer and Dane Filling bring you another episode.
We hope that you can join us here
Live from
The Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille.
on Channel Z,
I'm excited.
92.7 FM.
Well, good evening, wrestling fans. Take that out of there. Good evening, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Week. Back at the Double Eagle for the first time in a couple of weeks. We were snowed in and did a virtual high school wrestling weekly last week. And I tell you what, Dane, I would rather be here, but that worked out very well.
It was a lot of work, Rex.
Yeah, I know. Not for me and Josh. We just sit back and
It's a format for maybe some other shows down the line, but it's good to be back here where we belong, and we've got lots to talk about today. A great sectional broadcast yesterday, and a great sectional for Zeeland for sure, to say the least. And we really didn't get a chance to talk about it much yesterday, but Heritage had a great day yesterday. They end up with two champs, I think, and they finished as high as they finished in years. And so we've got lots and lots to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about sectional history, going all the way back to the very first sectionals in IHSAA history. We're going to go across the state from north to south, and we're going to take a specific look at those Delta sectional results and the Jay County regional results. Don't you dare call it the Delta regional. We've been there, done that for 1 year. And we'll also talk a little bit about logistics, Rex. And logistically, it was a rough broadcast on Saturday for the sole fact that they put us in a corner where we couldn't see anything.
we could keep track of time kind of with USA Bracking. That was about it.
We don't have quite the technology that some of the big dogs have internationally. I know I listen to a lot of English football, and one of my favorite commentators, one of my favorite pundits, he never leaves Newcastle. He sits in a studio, and then his partner sits in the box at the stadium, whether they're in France or in Germany or anything, and you never know that he's not there. Yeah. That's not that easy with high school wrestling, obviously. So
I just double-checked and I looked, and great numbers yesterday. Our YouTube broadcast had 1,500 views, which I think was huge. I mean, that's the difference between someone wanting to pay is it $25 to go and watch?
I don't know. No, not yet. I think that kicks in here next week or the week after. But we're in talks with Jay County about perhaps a different vantage point if we can get the internet access moved, or if we can just get a really, really long cable.
Hot. Whatever you want to do.
It'll be worth it, because we've got, how many did we figure out? Is it 14, 12, and 10? Was that the right number? 36?
Yeah, 14, 12, and 10.
36 regional qualifiers from Adams County. And the great thing about this next round, Rex, is that we don't have to have any Adams County wrestlers wrestling each other.
Correct.
And so there'll be 36 guys with a chance of 36 semi-state qualifiers for the following week. So, of course, we'll root against all those Delta guys for the time being, and then the week after we'll root for them as we try to bump up those numbers for the Jay County Regional. But Belmont comes away with 14 regional qualifiers. I did not, in my deliberations today, come up with the last year that happened. Maybe somebody else has done that and can save me all the hard work. I know it's happened many times before.
No one ever saves you work. It's always you doing the tough work.
Oh, there's somebody out there that looked it up. And the Belmont Braves win their 48th sectional title in school history, and their third in a row. And with that kind of as our theme for tonight, we're going to take a look back at all of the sectionals throughout the state and give you a little bit of backdrop, because it was a blue bloods kind of day. The traditional powerhouses really won out.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe in my research, out of the 32 sectional champions, nobody won their maiden, to use the British term. I don't think anybody was a first-timer, but there were some streaks that were broken, and some new streaks started. So I think we're going to talk to at least 4 sectional winning coaches tonight, maybe a 5th, perhaps at the end of the night. And we'll also talk to a Belmont alum, which reminds me that I need to add that to my show script.
So the show script you sent me has been altered numerous times since it hit my email.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So
let me line that up for the end of our show. Rex, what was your biggest takeaway from yesterday?
I think it pretty much went as planned. I don't think there was any true upsets. I think there were some questions at 144 we talked about, a big matchup between Mann and Myers, the big rematch between Boots and Funk at 215. I think those were the only 2 in the finals that were maybe in question. And I don't know. I don't want to say that I had thought either one was going to go a different way. I just thought they were going to be great matches, and I think they turned out to be good matches. All of them did.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with having decided favorites in a finals match. It's still fun to watch those guys wrestle. Obviously, as we get further into the tournament, then you have those true toss-ups or where the guys who are favorites this week are pretty long shots the following week. But overall, I thought the wrestling was great. I thought, especially from an Adams County perspective, there's not really – I can't imagine that Sawyer Miller went home last night disappointed.
No.
And I know that Coach Landis and Coach Myers were happy with yesterday's performance. And I don't – and Sean shared this sentiment with me last night in a group text. You know, he said, I don't know who to be upset about not performing well, right? Yeah. I mean, everybody performed at or above their seats, and everybody's moving on.
You know, Josh and I talked a little bit about there's a couple of guys that had wrestled early in the season. They've wrestled multiple times, and the guys that got beat early in the season have made up ground, and in some cases evened, and then have passed and have won the rubber matches, some of those matches. But I thought there were some great matches all through the finals.
That's such a key, right? And one of the things we're going to try to talk about tonight in the show is what can you do with 5 days of practice? You're talking about guys who maybe lost in December, came back 6 weeks, 8 weeks later, and made up some ground. I'd like to have a little bit of time, if we can, to talk about what you can do with 5 days of practice. But also, I thought it was interesting, what can you do with 3 hours? Because it seemed like there were some guys who got some great coaching from maybe an assistant coach or just a dad and made up a decent chunk, whereas in the morning they wrestled to a decision, and then all of a sudden it was a tech fall. Yeah, they figured it out.
We saw numerous matches where guys wrestled again in the consolation finals that wrestled earlier in the day.
Now, Rex, I have one trivia question for you here before we move into the first period. I'm going to take you all the way back to the very first time that they split the state tournament up into sides. And logically, they used to just hold an open meet, right? Anybody who had a team could come, I think was basically the way that it was. So you had to meet eligibility standards, right? We know that Bluffton had a state qualifier, state placer in 1910s or 1920s or something like that. And I think you just went.
That was bare-chested back then, right?
Then there was no, I'm sure it was.
It was,
yeah. I'm sure it was. There was no state tournament during World War II, and then they came out of that and they brought it back, and they kind of had to, I think, reinvigorate the sport because, there's a lot of guys who probably left high school early to go into the service. So 1949, 1950 was the first year that they split it and created a qualifier, much like the girls' tournament, right, just 8-9 years ago when we had North and South qualifiers. Who do you think the two schools were who won the first 2 IHSAA wrestling sectional championships?
Well, I can cheat because it was on the show script.
Oh, shoot.
So I don't want to say it, but
well, you think about that, listeners back home. Think about it, and we'll tell you the answer when we come back from this break.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today. When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today. When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do?
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for another segment of the High School Wrestling Weekly. As Dane asked the question before we went to break, I knew one of the answers before I even looked at it.
I think one should be a given.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who's studied, and not that anybody out there listening should just know all of this stuff, but anybody who's spent some time studying the sport knows that Bloomington slash Bloomington South, that they're up here.
Yeah.
Right?
Back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. I mean, this.
Did you get that one right? Okay.
Yeah.
Father got one right.
Yeah.
And then the other one, if you look at some of the results, especially having studied the very first few years of the Decatur program, they would go north, right, to a sectional, and that's where they would really run into the guys who were really tough. And those South Bend Central guys seem to be the ones who really – that South Bend has long been a hotbed. So when you think about the Al Smith or Mishawaka or some of those, like that was originally one of the centers of the sport when it was in its infancy going back. So there you go. South Bend Central and Bloomington were the first sectional champs. We're going to talk to some 2026 sectional champs later on in tonight's show. Well, let's jump into it. Those of you who did not spend much time looking at the Delta sectional, it was an interesting one from the standpoint that two of the competitors for the team title ended up with incomplete records, or incomplete lineups, I should say. Delta only entered 12 guys. Cowan only entered 12 guys, which actually was an improvement because earlier in the year they had several other forfeits. And we're going to talk to Coach Casey Bradley here in just a few minutes. But Delta ends up winning it. They take the title back from Yorktown. It was 234 for Delta and 220.5 for Yorktown. Yorktown had a full lineup. Cowan comes in third. Westell with a surprising fourth place finish, in my opinion. They beat Monroe Central by 1.5 points. And we also want to give a shout out to the Muncie Burris Owls because they had themselves a sectional champ. So that's another thing that we could talk about with Casey. Obviously, these Delta sectional guys come in and cross bracket with the Jay County sectional. It's something we're long used to, and it seems like more and more as the years have gone on, Rex, teams from both sectionals have kind of scheduled each other, and we know a lot more about the other side.
And it used to be Belmont would wrestle, but now Adams Central and South Adams both wrestle Cowan. They both wrestle Delta. A lot more intermingling there.
And, there's some crossover there at the ECIC. I know that South Adams has seen some area teams down there in that Newcastle duel that they go into, and it just seems like we're a lot more familiar with those guys. We know every year Westell's going to come out with a big, strong heavyweight in the upper weights, and that Monroe Central's always got a guy that sneaks in there who's awfully, awfully good.
And Yorktown sees Adams Central at the and New Haven duels,
Yes.
and then South Adams. I went down to South Adams and covered South Adams Yorktown. So they've picked up Yorktown in that mix. Their Cowan wrestles with South Adams. So there's a lot of more regional intermingling than there had been in the past.
And obviously Yorktown and Delta competing in 2A as well. So one thing that we'd also like to talk about today is who set themselves up well for a spot in next year's team state. And I think that I'm probably not going out on a very big limb to say that Belmont, they're in for next year. They took care of a lot of things yesterday that they won't have to worry about some of the semi-state matches where you want to win an extra match and those types of things. I think South Adams went a long ways to securing an automatic bid for themselves as well. And Adams Central's made it every year. It's not really a mystery that they're going to make it.
So people like myself that don't follow the point scoring system, can you give a quick rundown on what point system it takes to get it in?
I had to call timeout. I'll look him right now. AJ, we love you, but every once in a while we have to get a different Bradley on the show so that they don't think that we're too AJ Bradley centric here. He's hurt that we're calling Casey tonight. Should we call AJ at the end of the show and do an
Just
extra?
if he wants, if he feels the need, that's fine.
Oh, that's too sweet. Where were we? I lost my spot now.
I asked what the point system was to get into the team state.
So one of the big things that you need to watch for here that comes out in the next week is not necessarily the point totals, although the point totals will be important in 1A especially. What's important is the classifications themselves. So the Coaches Association is going to use the new IHSAA enrollment figures, the new DOE enrollment figures that just came out. And then they're going to take every wrestling team who did not have 7 or more guys, and they're going to eliminate them from the count.
Okay, so you get kicked out.
You get kicked out. And this is especially important because there are going to be 3A and 4A schools who don't have half a team. They're going to get kicked out. And every team that gets kicked out that has 1,500 kids bumps that many more teams up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's one thing to keep out. So before we do anything else, let's give Casey a call here and let's talk some Delta sectional action here.
Take him off mute.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Bradley. Casey Bradley. We've getting some text here about your brother's. His feelings are hurt because we're calling you and we didn't have him on the schedule, so we have to add him back in. But how are you doing this evening, Casey?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you, Rex?
We're good.
Well, tell us a little bit first off about how your day went. And I saw that you guys had 12 weights filled. And it seemed like you were a little bit closer to full strength from where you were a month ago.
Yeah, we thankfully had our 12 guys in there. You know, first part of the season, we had some guys missing. So it was nice to get them back in after they served their, suspension and stuff, and getting those guys back in the lineups. Ended up finishing the season, winning the last 3 dual meets, which was nice. Had a good conference showing, which was a good tune-up to the sectional. And, there's a few guys in there that we're pretty close to punching the ticket to the regional tournament, and unfortunately it didn't happen for them. We had 6 guys that did. We walked away with 4 finalists, two champs, 2 runner-ups, and 2 fourth-place finishers. So pretty proud of the way the guys competed, and definitely some promise for the future, especially with our team being as young as it is. We got just 1 senior at the moment, so pretty exciting to have those guys back for the future. So pretty excited about that.
Casey, what are your middle school numbers like as far as what kind of numbers might you expect next year as a freshman class?
So right now we have, I think, 18 middle schoolers, and of those 18, there's 11 8th graders.
Wow.
I do believe 3 of them are girls, so 3 will go, obviously, on the girls' team. But so, yeah, we'll be pretty happy with those incoming numbers, considering we're only losing 1 guy.
What kind of role does your son play on the team as far as being a leader, helping some of the other guys, and just sort of rallying them around him to in a tournament like yesterday?
Big role. I mean, Jack's a good, obviously, he's a good leader, not only in performance, but vocally as well. he had the opportunity to have a Toby Abbott as a leader and kind of set the tone for what that leadership role looks like. And I think that, that was a huge part for him, and he's doing a great job by leading it now. Not only just day to day in practice, but in the classroom, all around, which is really nice. Showing them that, hey, you can go to the next level and wrestle in college, just like Toby, just like Levi, and those guys. So it's really nice to have that type of leadership in the room, and it's pretty cool. It's really cool. Makes my job a little easier too, and in certain situations as well.
So, Coach, what does it look like for your team and for your wrestling room coming up this week, getting prepared for regional, losing half of those guys and being down to 6?
So, yeah, our guys, one thing I preach is, hey, you can't expect to achieve your goals coming in to do, wrestling 90 days out of the year. 60 days, whatever it may be in season from 3 to 5. You got to continue to do things outside of the room, take advantage of camps, all the opportunities between contenders all the way up to warriors, CIA, all that good stuff. And, we still have opportunities like 1A, 2A state. We have opportunities in folk style state, freestyle opportunities, freshman, sophomore state. So I encourage my guys to continue to train as long as the season's going on with our guys that are running into the postseason. It also helps our guys. It's kind of nice to have that team atmosphere in there instead of them just by themselves practicing with one another, and helps keep building that camaraderie. So, this week's going to be another good week of practice. We'll get in and watch some film, review some things as a coaching staff on some upcoming opponents we got, and some things that we maybe need to want to fix and tweak in competition, but really just continue to focus on what we're good at and continue to keep our minds right, our body healthy, and get ready for the next opportunity to advance to the next part of the postseason.
Now, Coach, we've got a lot of people listening who were at the Jay County sectional on Saturday, and they're only watching the Delta sectional from USA Bracketing. Who's somebody who jumped out, maybe not on your team, but on one of the other teams at the sectional that you were really impressed with, or that maybe out-wrestled their seed that we might want to keep an eye on?
Well, I mean, he didn't wrestle his seed, but, obviously a guy like, Jensen Boyd, he's always somebody that's when he steps out there, he's fun to watch. He's exciting to watch. He's just, that's a top-notch guy. I'll tell you who someone to watch out for, upper weights 175, Wesley Henderson coming down to 75. I look forward to watching him as he goes through the postseason run. You were talking earlier about the Westels and those guys having those upper weights. Is it Powers from Westell? He's another guy that's fun to watch wrestle. And Braden Salim at 126. He's a guy from Burris now who got their first sectional champion. He was at Delta last year. He went to Burris. They started a program. He's their first champ, and that's another guy that's going to be hoping to make a long run into the tournament as well.
Yeah, we noticed that when we were looking through USA Bracketing as it jumped onto our screen, and I said, I'm pretty sure that I recognize that name. So really cool for the Burris program, and I know we talked to a coach a couple years ago who was starting the middle school program, but man, anytime you can get an established high school in Indiana to add a program and then to find success, we love it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really good for those guys, and I know it's not easy to coming from Cowan and doing what we've done the last 9-10 years. It's not easy to start that process and educate everybody on what it looks like, and especially administratively, and then parents and everything. It's a process, but it's worth the journey for sure.
Well, Coach, I didn't open my text from your brother all the way. He said you found the second best Bradley to be on the show tonight. I didn't realize that it said second best dressed, so a little bit more of a jibe at you. I don't know.
That's AJ, all right. He's got to put him. He's got to say something. That's all he can. Hey, I got he was talking some crap to me about beating me in the duel this year earlier when I didn't have all my guys, and I said I'll see you at sectionals. Don't worry, I'll see you at sectionals, and that's all I need to say.
Well,
he did good though. They had a guy in the finals. I believe his heavyweight actually first year wrestler made it to the finals. I think his name's Raquan. Super nice kid. I've talked to him a couple times, but. He's got some guys advancing on too, and I'm excited for him and his guys.
Casey, I think he said he's the best dressed because I know he owns a couple of High School Wrestling Weekly shirts, so I think that's what he's referring to because you're a pretty dapper dresser yourself. So we appreciate you.
I think you're right. He's got a hat too. He's got a toboggan as well. I think that's what it is.
The Canadians call that a toque. He's got a toque.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you calling in tonight, Coach, and we will look forward to see you and your team on Saturday at the Jay County Regional.
All right. Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
Take care.
So we'll take a look at those brackets in a little bit more detail, hopefully later on. Delta down low really kind of dominating. And then, of course, Braden Salim, as Casey mentioned. But in the upper weights, there was a good variety of guys, and, of course, Cowan had their success as well. So we'll run through those later on in the show. Right now we're going to take a break and be back with a rundown of what happened up north.
Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
First Bank of Bern is proud to serve as the only local bank in Adams County. I'm Jessica Zerker with First Bank of Bern in Decatur. We believe that a bank's strength is rooted in the prosperity of the communities it serves. This drives our commitment to nurturing the success of businesses in our local area. We provide our customers with easy-to-use banking solutions and exceptional service as part of our dedication to fostering their growth. Whether it's through loans, lines of credit, cash management, or other tailored services, First Bank of Bern stands ready to support your business in thriving and prospering. First Bank of Bern, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille as we make our way to the next segment of the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Yeah, we move into first period B, and as we've talked about a lot over the last, I think probably 2 or 3 years, I've tried to make it a theme, is not to wish away these weeks of the tournament and to make sure that you give the credit where it is due for a conference title, a conference championship, a sectional championship. And so we're going to honor all the sectional champions today as we run through it. We're going to start with our own dear to our heart Fort Wayne semi-state. Of course, Indiana's #1 semi-state Rex. And we're going to start way up north at Elkhart.
Alphabetically only, or what?
No, E for East Chicago comes before F. Evansville comes before F.
Well, you and I may think it's the only #1 because we were always looked at as the red-haired stepchild.
I appreciate every year at the Coliseum. I don't know. Is it Heath? Who is the announcer from South Adams?
No, Seth Sprunger usually announces.
Oh, there's somebody else too. Maybe it is
Sprunger,
Seth.
Mr.
Maybe it is
Sprunger.
Seth who does it.
Yeah.
He always says the toughest semi-state in Indiana. I love it. I love it. It's just like seeing the Patriot 2 weekends in a row. And then those bonus years where we get 3, I love it. All right, up at Elkhart in sectional, what would be sectional number 9, it is Northwood who comes away with the sectional title, 231.5 to Concord's 200.5. I know that Concord got an invite to the Al Smith this past year, and they are a program on the rise.
With a new coach.
Yes, so that's good stuff up there. Rod Lone, Nate Andrews, everybody up there at Northwood always does a great job. They parlay their football success into wrestling. So that's their 13th title overall and their third in a row up in that Elkhart sectional. They'll join up at Goshen for the Goshen Regional with the West Noble sectional winner. And congrats to the Fighting Reasons and East Noble. Not much of a surprise that they won, but what I was surprised by, Rex, was the margin of victory. They only beat Angola by 5 points. And so Angola is another team that is, I think, slowly creeping forward into relevancy into a year after year. They had a really good team, I think, last year. This year they were down a little bit, but that would have been a big win for them. It's East Noble's 16th title and also their third in a row. We move on to the Carroll Regional then, and, of course, the Carroll Regional split up into that Carroll sectional and the New Haven sectional, and Garrett wins it. It is their 7th straight victory for the Fighting Yadaddies, and I guess I didn't realize that they had never won a sectional prior to that first one 7 years ago, and now they've got 7 in a row.
Really?
So there was a time there where that Carroll program was top 10 in the state. And for them to have overtaken them, it's not like Carroll is way down.
We saw Carroll in a duel
They looked very
against the
good.
Braves, and it was a close match. Took second to last match to seal the deal.
Garrett beats Carroll by 40 points, so a very impressive performance. And we'll skip over. Now let's just go to it. We'll go straight to it. You dial up our call here because we're going to give a shout-out to the New Haven Bulldogs, who won their program's 12th overall title. They beat out the Homestead Spartans by just 9 points.
Hello.
Good evening, Coach Lynn, Rex Brewer, Dane Filling with the High School Wrestling Weekly, your favorite wrestling radio program on the air, I must say, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Well, Coach, last year you guys lost a tough one to Homestead, but this year you guys get revenge and win it by 9 points. Tell us a little bit about how it went.
Yeah, it's always fun competing against Homestead and Coach Oberlin. They always bring their best to the table come tournament time. We had a really good first couple rounds and kind of built a lead. We had almost a 30-point lead going into the final round. I kind of felt it was kind of secured by then, but they wrestled really well and had a great final round and made it really close. And it came down to a couple matches we had to win, and our kids stepped up, and we kind of got it done late when I kind of thought it was put away early, but you know how things go.
Now, when I talked to you last night, Coach, you told me a bit of a story about your heavyweight. Why don't you explain a little bit more about his day yesterday?
Yeah, Bailey Worthington, he's a sophomore, a kid that kind of had to talk into coming back out for wrestling. He had a rough freshman year, and the season didn't really go how he wanted to. He had like 12 wins, and I would probably say 4 or 5 of those were probably forfeits. And he came in and was unseeded, and then it kind of shifted around. He ended up being the 6th seed, but he lost in the quarters, and then stormed back and placed 3rd. And it was just a great day for him. Kind of got hot, and he's hit his stride late in the season, and that's kind of what you want to do. You just want to get these kids, especially that don't have a whole lot of confidence, when they start winning matches. You never know really what can happen, and that's kind of what he did.
Well, it sounds like a perfect example of a loss teaching you a lot more than perhaps a win, and that's the beauty about that sectional tournament, right, is that you get that opportunity to come back and make your way back through the consolation rounds.
Absolutely. There's nothing like it's, it's kind of similar to football. Once the postseason starts, it's like a new season. So kind of start 0-0, even though you carry your record from the season on, and anything can happen, and you just got to keep wrestling, and that's kind of what he did. Just got to what he was good at, and kind of just all fell in place. And it happened with a couple of our wrestlers, and it's great to see when they have success, especially when they're not carrying a whole lot of confidence. I think he placed 6th in the NE8, which was a tough heavyweight class. So he's feeling pretty good, and that's nice for him.
Now, when I was thinking about what kind of questions to ask you tonight for the show, I was going to ask you if you really look forward to this next weekend solely because you don't have to host the tournament finally.
Yeah, so about every other year it seems like we host everything, and this is the year where we hosted everything, and it's nice to kind of go away. Carroll's pretty close for us, so basically I get to actually sleep in when I have an away meet versus when we have a home meet when I'm there like 5:30, make sure everything's going. So it'll be nice. And Carroll does a great job at the regional, so I'm excited to go there.
Well, Coach, what does 5 full days of practice look like for you this week? I know last week was a mess with school cancellations and the weather. We wanted to talk a little bit tonight. Early in the show, we mentioned it. What can you do with a guy over 5 days of practice with some film from sectional to come back and get that revenge at regional?
Yeah, so we just we kind of take it a little bit slow at the beginning of the week. 5 days is a long time, and as you guys know, wrestling's it's a grueling sport. It's a sport where not only do you got to make weight, but during the postseason you got 5 days of grinding. So we take it a little bit slow on that first day. Monday's kind of going to be just like we might have a couple games worked in there, just get a good workout, kind of go over some things, our draws, talk about that and things that we're going to need to do. And then we kind of pick it up a little bit on Tuesday. And then Wednesday and Thursday are going to be our heavy days where we're really trying to work hard, get some weight off, but still, work on the things that we need to work just for those individual matchups. And then Friday again, hopefully their weight's maintained. We can kind of have a short one and just, again, touch on the basics of what we need to do to be successful. And then hit the ground running on Saturday. So that's kind of how we do it, and it's been working for us pretty well.
So, Coach, my partner and his father, who's in the audience here, they're farmers, and there's an old phrase, the hay's in the barn. And at this time of the season, you don't want to try and kill your guys. The hay's in the barn. Let's go ahead and let's just sharpen the edges on those knives and see what you can do, because these guys are trying to recuperate. And if you give them 5 full days where they don't have to have a match in the middle of their maybe they can mend some wounds and just kind of work on some things, keep their weight management down, and then work on a few techniques that they think that they just need to polish up.
Definitely. We kind of talk about that with them. Like we're not going to reinvent the wheel at this point. We're good at what we're good at. They're good at what they're good at. We just need to, just be prepared for what the other the opponents can do. And yeah, and weight management. We got a couple kids that cut pretty hard, so we just want to make sure that we're working them hard enough, but obviously not beating them up too bad.
Well, Coach, once again, we want to, A, thank you so much for all your cooperation throughout the year, and B, congratulate you on a sectional title. It is something that is worth celebrating.
Absolutely. Yeah, our kids were excited. I knew if we wrestled well, this could be the outcome, and they did their part, and hopefully we have success going forward.
Well, we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Once again, that was Coach Jimmy Lind of the sectional champion New Haven Bulldogs. And to round out our review of the Fort Wayne semi-state, at that Peru regional, I don't even know who hosted it anymore. I forget. Do you remember who it is?
It's either Peru or Manchester. I think it's Manchester.
It's at Peru, it was North Miami winning easily 65 points over Northfield. That's a pair of 1A team state teams there. That's North Miami's 4th title overall and their 3rd in a row, and that program just keeps on chugging
they're pretty solid
and churning out trophies. And at Oak Hill, a few things change. That's their 33rd title and their 3rd in a row.
The Fighting Andrew Kings.
They beat out Eastern Greentown by a pretty sizable margin and advance a pretty decent chunk of guys to that regional. So with that, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll go all the way up north to the region and work our way over to South Bend as we continue to review what happened yesterday across the state.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Package Liquors. Package Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Zeeland. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors. and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Package Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
If you're serious about taking your wrestling to the next level, then Warrior RTC Wrestling Club is the place to be. Every Sunday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6, boys and girls from different elementary, middle, and high schools come together to build skills, confidence, and lifelong friendships. With high-level experienced coaches and a positive training atmosphere, every Warrior learns to work hard and have fun doing it. Whether you're chasing your first medal or your next state title, Warrior RTC will help you in your relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Visit online at warriorrtc.com to learn more about the year-round wrestling opportunities and train like a champion.
You hear it all the time. Do you have the right insurance coverage? But are you really taking that question seriously? Josh Book may be stationed in his home office in Noble County, but he's ready to serve you if you're listening to this broadcast, no matter what county you're in, and help you get the best insurance for your farm, business, or home. A proud insurance agent with Farm Bureau Insurance, Josh is ready to have a conversation with you about the rates you're paying and the coverage you're getting. Give him a call and have that important conversation with an experienced Farm Bureau agent today. Find out more at infarmbureau.com.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for our next segment on the Haggard Hirschy Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
And we move into second period A, where we take a look at the East Chicago semi-state and the 8 sectionals that make it up. And we give a shout-out to all the Maldonados who took part in another sectional title.
Is that Maldonado?
Maldonado. For the Maryville Pirates, they scored 306.5 points.
That's
Lake Central second with 269, and Munster third, close behind, 266.5. 35th title overall for Maryville. They missed one 3 years ago, and so it's 2 in a row for the Maldonados. And what a great group of guys. We spent some time with them at Girls Team State, and it just felt like we had just seen them the day before, catching up. And David is such a personable guy, and they're so unselfish in the sort of the fame and glory that comes with all of the success that they have. They don't make it a show about them. They're serious about the sport, and they just churn out good athletes year after year. And no distinction between the boys and the girls.
No, I mean, they support the girls just as wholeheartedly as the boys.
At Portage, then, it was Portage with the title, 293 points. I was a little bit surprised Griffith with a second-place finish, 228.5. So congratulations to the Griffith Panthers. And Coach Soika, who has called into the show a couple times this year. Hobart were third with 211.5. That is 38 titles now for Portage, and they've won the last 6. Rex, who do you think won the Crown Point sectional?
Crown Point.
But it is you think about as far as a deep sectional, Rex. Crown Point, 316.5. Lowell, one of the very best 3A teams with some absolute studs. They scored 253.5. Hanover Central got third, and man, they've been good all year long. So
that's a tough row to hoe.
A very top-heavy sectional there at Crown Point, and I don't know if a lot of people know how deep and how long that Crown Point wrestling history is. That's their 38th title overall.
You know, Coach Scotty Flink back in the day.
They've won 20. Yeah. They've won 24 in a row. So it's not just a recent phenomenon there.
And then for him is Coach Larry. Yeah.
Are you thinking of? Tharp? No,
yeah.
he was at Portage.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't remember who the coach was before that.
Yeah.
And then at LaPorte, that's the other sectional that feeds into there. Another 2A team that we've spent a lot of time talking about this year, New Prairie, come up with the title, 268.5. Chesterton were second, so shout out to Coach Trevino. And a shout-out to the Fighting Jason Cooks. They come in third. That's New Prairie's 5th title, their 2nd in a row. We move on to the South Bend area, and it was Penn beating out Mishawaka. No surprise there. They win by 68 points. And a shout-out to Coach Bill Flatt, one of the longest-serving coaches in the state. His South Bend Riley Wildcats come in third, half a point behind Mishawaka. They were so close. That's Penn's 28th title and their 6th in a row. And Rochester pick up the sectional trophy. They win at Plymouth, their 15th title, and they beat out Warsaw, who were second. Then we go down to the Lafayette area, and Rensselaer Central pick up the win. They beat Benton Central by 80 points. And Rex, I forgot to get you lined up here. We're still looking at Casey's picture on there. And we're going to talk to the head coach of the
Casey,
Bombers.
Casey in his dress blues.
A slow typer, apparently. Let's talk some Rensselaer Central wrestling here with Coach Hickman.
Hello?
Coach Hickman, Rex Brewer, and Dane Filling with the High School Wrestling Weekly. What are you doing sitting around tonight after a long sectional tournament yesterday?
Watching film.
Well, Coach, we're just calling a few.
Spent the whole day with the family. We went down to Lafayette for a little bit today, and then
Did you take in the Purdue duel?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No,
We had some Adams County guys down there.
My wife. That's all. So.
Well, we called you to congratulate you on a sectional title. Tell us a little bit about how the day went for your guys.
Yeah, no, I thought we wrestled well. The ninth straight time we've won our sectional, which was a pretty cool feat. For our seniors, it's their fourth straight. But yeah, no, we wrestled really well. I feel like a lot of times you go into these tournaments and there's always, some letdowns or some guys that just didn't wrestle, maybe how you anticipated. And I'm not sure that I can really say that about our guys. I think, a lot of our guys or the majority of our guys performed to their potential. And I thought that we set ourselves up really well to hopefully make a run at winning the regional here this next week.
Now, how much overlap do you guys have in the scheduling-wise with some of those teams from the Lafayette Jeff sectional? How familiar are you with them?
A few of them. Unfortunately, we don't see Harrison. That's kind of the big competition, I would say, team-wise for us. But we do have a lot of common opponents with them to where we kind of look at matchups ahead of time and see, how well we match up with them and kind of pick up on some nuance and some tendencies. But, we see West Lafayette there in our conference. We see McCutcheon in a duel during the year. We see Faith Christian in a duel. So, there are, probably 4 or 5 of them that we see throughout the year. But a couple big ones or big matchups where it'd be nice to see them during the year. But, it is what it is.
Now, with you guys coming away with such a big margin, how many guys did you bring to regional?
We have 13.
13. That's going to set you off pretty nice for qualifying for Team State next year.
Yeah, I would hope so. We have 4 seniors in the lineup, so we're, for the point system, we're relatively young as well. But that's always a goal of ours is to qualify for the Team State, and we've been fortunate enough to be there the last 6 years, and looking forward to hopefully making it 7 next year.
Now, is that something that you actively talked about with your team in the last couple of weeks, talking about the experience that you had at Team State in Franklin earlier in the month, and then saying, hey, guys, we need to put this together so we can go back next year?
No, not necessarily. Honestly, I would bet most of our kids don't even know how we qualify for Team State. They just know that we have the last several years. My whole thing is just trying to kind of stay in the moment and let them be present and focused on what they're doing. I think if you start putting additional pressure, you make that moment a little bit bigger than what it needs to be. I feel like if we just do our job and our kids come ready to wrestle, that all the other opportunities and accolades and championships will kind of take care of themselves. So, we, as a program, it's always our goal to be able to compete at those things and to be able to compete at Team State, and we take a lot of pride in going there. But no, it's not something that we've talked about here recently at all. After we got through Team State, we kind of switched all of our focus to getting guys ready for the state tournament series and trying to help our team win a sectional and a regional.
Well, Coach, we thank you for coming on the show tonight, and we want to congratulate you on a sectional title, and we look forward to seeing you at the state finals here in 3 weeks.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Congrats, Coach. So, as he mentioned there, Rex, they will take on a lot of guys from Harrison, from West Lafayette, and from Lafayette Jeff, and from West Lafayette in that Lafayette area regional. Harrison wins their 21st title and their 14th in a row. We are going to jump down here real quick and run through the beginning of the Newcastle semi-state. And it was at Crawfordsville. Zionsville comes away with the title. They beat Southmont by 55 points. Zionsville's had an awfully good season. At Frankfort, it was Westfield getting their second sectional title in a row. They beat Hamilton Southeastern by 16. And, Rex, we got one more call to make here. It's almost like I should have had these lined up for you.
It wasn't on the list.
Late edition. Now, he did give us a promise that he was not going to blow out our speakers this time, like he did the last time that he called.
I got my hand on the volume knob. We'll dial him down.
At Elwood, it was I need to go back through. They may have scored the most points of any team in the state. Let's ask him.
Who we talk to?
Noblesville. Mike Weimer.
Hello.
Good evening, Coach Weimer. Rex Brewer and Dane filling with the High School Wrestling Weekly. How you doing this weekend?
Doing great. Doing great.
Good sectional for you yesterday?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty fun. I'll tell you that.
We were just trying to give you credit for the most points scored, but those pesky Wildcats down at Mater Dei beat you by 2 points.
Oh, Schaefer. Greg, he'll always find a way. Cause I got him back in LN, and I was assistant coach. We pinned him 4 times in the semifinals. Never happened, so he had to get me on something. So congrats to them on their 50th. Yes, that's amazing.
It is wild for sure. Hey, tell us a little bit about how your guys did yesterday and how the day progressed.
Yesterday we the funny thing is, and my assistant coach actually told me this, when we were, driving home together, he said, this is the first time we ever had all 14 guys together, like the full entire lineup. Because we've always had a kid out or injury or sickness or something from the start of the season and till now. And we had all 14 guys in our lineup. And we preached and we talked about, 14 finalists. We're going to go do it. 14 finalists, 14 champs. And we said that to these guys, all week. They believed it. And, I'll tell you that semifinal round, we pinned the entire round. And it was kind of one of those situations where you start seeing a pin and a pin and a pin and a pin and another pin. And then when we got to 157 and 165, both our wrestlers were at the same match, same time. And you're sitting in between 2 mats, and all of a sudden, it's like the referees blew the whistle at the same time. And it was like, boom, it's like 2 pins, simultaneously. And I was like, whoa, that's when my mind kind of just started going whoa, we might do this. We really might get this done. Because it's hard to do. I never thought in my life that would ever happen. And then it got to the point where I think, from 74 to 285, I'm not going to be the guy that doesn't make the finals. We're gonna do this. And these kids just stayed in everyone's matches. Never we got yelled at by the announcer saying, get away from the match, Noblesville, get away from the match. But it was great to see, and I didn't care because all our kids were in everyone's matches. And we're cheering, and it came down to our heavyweight who was going in a tough match, and it was a tight match. He was up by 1. Fought hard in the second period, and then in the third, he wrestles and he ends up getting the pin in the third and makes the finals. And it was just like, whoa, we just did it. We did what we the kids did it. And it's not us, it's the kids. And these kids have always believed in doing something special, and it was just an amazing experience. I'll tell you that.
Well, it sounds like a great example of wrestling not being an individual sport to me.
Yeah, that was something that I spoke to the kids about. We always talk about it and go, it's tournament time now. I said, we've had a phenomenal dual meet season. I said, but this is your time. And I always told them, I said, be selfish for you. It's your time. And you take care of yourself, and the team and the team race or whatever will take care of itself too. And when you're not wrestling, you're in each other's matches, and you keep scoring points and always wrestle to the bonus. And that's exactly what they did. They every single one of them, when it was their time to get ready and prepared, they got ready and prepared. And when they were done, they were in their teammates' matches. There wasn't the greatest thing is in this day and age, there wasn't one phone in one of my kids' hands the entire day. Nobody was on their phones. Nobody was, looking at stuff, or nobody was worrying about, team races, points, whatever. It was just in the moment, being with their teammates and giving everything they had to their teammates. And I love that.
Well, it sounds like a lot of hard work in the offseason and early in the season paying off for you, Coach. Congratulations, and you get to take your crack at Cathedral next week in the regional.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. We got 14 through, and the goal is to get 14 through, to semi-state and make a run at, team regional. And just Monday we get back to work. That's the one thing about these guys is that they've been doing this together since they're in second grade to fourth grade. All of them were basically 3 years apart or 2 years apart or 4 years, I guess, and they have those, these are the goals that, we set for them, but they have the goals for them and their individual goals that are still not achieved. And it's fun to be able to go, we achieved these goals. Now it's time for round two, let's second week of the tournament series, and let's go.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for being such a good friend of the show this season, and we were pretty tickled to see that you guys came away with such a big margin, and we look forward to seeing what you can do at regional this coming weekend.
All right, thank you very much for having me back on. I hope I didn't blow up your speakers or anything like that.
No, we're all good. We're all good. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
So once again, Noblesville wins it. They'll go kind of head-to-head there with Cathedral at the regional next week. New Pal won their first title since 2008 by beating LN at the Lawrence Central Sectional. Ron Colley, kind of surprised, Rex. Ron Colley only with 12 titles overall. I know there's been some realignment there, and, of course, Perry Meridian won for so many years, right? But Ron Colley beats Perry by 74 points, and they win their second in a row. Then over on the east side of the state, Newcastle wins their 46th overall. They beat Richmond by 35 points, and it was a sectional title for East Central over Milan. So with that, let's take a break here. We'll go through Evansville right after this.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for our next segment here on the High School Wrestling Weekly.
Yeah, and, looking back at the sectionals that we reviewed so far, the only non-repeat winners so far that we've reviewed, Delta taking the title back from Yorktown, and I believe Rochester, unless my notes are wrong here. Maybe I just didn't put how many they've won in a row. Anyways, we move on to the Evansville semi-state, and, of course, Brownsburg, with that insane performance at the state finals, would have been heavily favored over Avon, but we also want to give a shout-out to just how good of a season Avon's had, and Plainfield and Coach Jones as well. They come in third, and that is just a loaded sectional. Plainfield probably could have won, I'm guessing, 15 to 20 of these other sectionals if they were in it. Yeah. But that's a heck of a county to compete against at a sectional level. It's Brownsburg's 20th overall. They've won 11 in a row. And then, of course, they meet up with Center Grove next week. Center Grove wins theirs at Mooresville. They scored 307.5 points. They've won 6 in a row. Whiteland had a good showing. They were second. And our friends at Decatur Central were third. Down at the Bloomington sectional, it was Bloomington South coming away with another win. They've started a new streak, Rex. They're on 2 in a row now. They scored 257. Terre Haute South and Coach Cook were 188 and second, and Owen Valley were third at 175. At Southridge, people might have thought that we were two Coach Sisson or two Coach Bradley if we would have called him again for about the third or fourth straight week. But congratulations to Coach Sisson and the Highlanders as they come away with a 30-point victory over Jasper. Jasper had a great year, and so did New Albany. Both of those teams received votes in the vote-in this year for Team State, and look for them to have continued success here at the regional and maybe sneak their way into a 3A bid next year. Floyd Central's 35th title overall. At Jennings County, it was Franklin Community who took advantage of, I believe, a missed weigh-in for Columbus East, which made things not as close as they should have been. Franklin Community wins it by 21.5, and it's their 21st title overall and their second in a row, so congratulations to Coach Tante, both Coach Tantes. And our good friends down at Switz County came in third, and they are a tiny school to be competing against those big 3A juggernauts. Jeffersonville was won by Charlestown, and they beat out Jeff by 9.5 points. That's their 4th title overall, their first in 5 years. And then we go down to the Evansville Regional. It was Heritage Hills. No surprise there from Belmont fans. They come away with their 4th in a row, 247.5. They beat Evansville Memorial by 53. And then at Evansville Central, Mater Dei scores 329.5 points, and they actually double up Evansville Rights, who only had 161. And if you didn't see it, Joe did a great job of giving them the credit that they deserve. That is 50 in a row for Evansville Mater Dei.
That's a nice banner he put up there.
They have won 56 overall. And to review, like I said at the beginning of the show, it really was a story of blue bloods. Mater Dei won. They're at 56. Belmont didn't gain on anybody. They're at 48. Belmont with the second most. Then comes Newcastle. They won. They're at 46. Bloomington South, 45. Cathedral won theirs at 44. And I guess Crown Point gains a little bit on Castle and Warren Central. But Crown Point, Portage, Floyd Central, Maryville, they're all down there at 34 and 37, respectively. So, you know, some great performances and traditional teams picking up sectional titles, and it just makes for what's going to be a great regional. That's what we kind of talked about at the end of the broadcast yesterday. Everybody loves an upset, but when you have an upset, it robs you of a great match later on down the road, and that's what we're going to see on Saturday.
Yep.
So with that, we will take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to look at the lightweights at the J County Regional right after this.
Locally owned and operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
First Bank of Bern is proud to serve as the only local bank in Adams County. I'm Jessica Zerker with First Bank of Bern in Decatur. We believe that a bank's strength is rooted in the prosperity of the communities it serves. This drives our commitment to nurturing the success of businesses in our local area. We provide our customers with easy-to-use banking solutions and exceptional service as part of our dedication to fostering their growth. Whether it's through loans, lines of credit, cash management, or other tailored services, First Bank of Bern stands ready to support your business in thriving and prospering. First Bank of Bern, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for our next segment here on the High School Wrestling Weekly.
And we'll take a look at the lightweights at the Jay County Regional. I don't know why I've called it the Delta Regional about 3 times tonight.
Maybe because you don't want it to be the Delta Regional.
Do you remember the Delta Regional, or were you still officiating?
I was there.
I remember. This is one topic I wanted to bring up. I promised Eric Myers that I would.
How many years ago was it?
It would have been in 2003.
I was still refereeing.
That's right. Our good friend Matt Burkhalter would have been wrestling in that tournament.
I think I refereed that region.
Oh, it could be. We were talking about the fact that in 2003, when they switched the sectional, 2002 was the last year at Adams Central. 2003 was the first year at Jay County. We had a conversation on the air on Saturday. I'm sure my mother heard it. Who do you think the first Belmont fan was that got through the door and through the line and said, we're going to sit in this corner, and they've sat there for 24 straight years? I think it was Buddy Sheets.
John Sheets' dad?
I think John Sheets' grandpa. Because from my experience, there was no one who was ever there earlier
Tom and Marvine.
Than those two.
I've seen Tom and Marvine there when they're rolling the mats out.
But I don't know if they would have had they wouldn't have had a grandkid in that tournament. So
they didn't care.
That might be true as well. So I'm sure that Clara Hill was there. I'm sure that Bob and Mary Strickler were there. In fact,
Daisy Hurst.
I remember it. I believe I rode in a van with Kevin Ripley and Frank Bittner to the very first Jay County wrestling sectional. That would have been in, was he Braves 1? I think he had the license plate Braves 1.
So, yeah.
Frank Bittner did. Those are good times. I think Uncle Mark Ripley went with me as well on that trip. And it was true that Belmont fans pick a spot and they're not going to move. Say what you will. Adams Central fans, they wanted to see the clock and the scoreboard. The Belmont fans were determined that they were going to sit in their spot, even if they couldn't see a darn thing. Troy knows.
We redubbed Mike Grumo as Moses as he got up and led the Israelites to the other side.
So the question is everybody going to try to sit on that side and just leave the Belmont fans to their own corner? Or is there not going to be enough space for everybody, or are they going to change their setup, you think?
I didn't really have a problem with not seeing the clock. If you could watch it on USA Bracketing.
We had a laptop in front
of us. I was good with that. I think our corner's good. We're going to stay right there.
Okay. Well, as long as they keep bringing us Mountain Dew and water and food, I'm not really going to care all that
Kurt
much.
Van Skyok is our man.
You probably, most people that are listening probably weren't there, but they did. They had the first regional at Delta, and the sight lines were just so bad. I remember we sat way up top, and you couldn't see. The railing was – and they had the way they had it.
You kind of wrestled underneath the rail.
Yeah, and then the very next year they went to Jay County, and they haven't gone back since.
Yeah.
So, but I still call it the Delta Regional every once in a while. Well, let's jump into it here. Joe has done a great job on Indiana Mat with these brackets. And just before I go too much further, I want to make sure I know how much time that I have here. Okay. So at 106 pounds, obviously Jacob Binniger comes through. 106 was not especially deep in that Delta sectional. So on the other side is Calicomo from Delta. He'll take on Lothridge of Jay County. You look at the semifinals, it's probably Binniger and Bowers again. That was a decision match on Saturday. And then Fredinger and Calicomo on the other side. I think those are 4 good 6-pounders.
Yeah.
And I think Calicomo, probably deserves the ranking that he has. He's a top 10 guy in the state.
Yep.
But that's what Binniger's out there to try to get a look at. At 113, you've got Kay Jackson, number 1 ranked in the semi-state. He's a state medal winner last year. That's who Ezra Lichty will have the first round. That's a tough one for the senior. Brock Sprunger would wrestle a young man from Monroe Central. And then Brad Baker. I can't believe that it says Brad on there. I had to read it that way. Bradley Baker the freshman, 28-9, wins our Jay County sectional, and he'll take on the young man from Cowan. I don't think, did I actually see Cowan this year? It gets snowed out, remember?
Yeah.
And I never actually got to see him. So I'm not too familiar with that young man. We should have asked Coach Bradley about it. At 120, you got another number 1 ranked wrestler in the semi-state in Reed Wicker. And unfortunately for Adams Central, they've got another matchup with the number 1, Owen Macklin. Did a good job of getting out of the sectional. It would be Wicker and Wank potentially in the semifinals on the top. Oliver Ferrote had a good day. He'll take on James Gibson of Daleville, a sophomore, 17-7. Those are the ones, Rex, you just kind of put your hands up and say, hey, let's let these boys wrestle and see who comes out on top. We don't know much about Daleville.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see him this year. Was it
26?
I think it was my dad who went to Daleville with me a year or two ago. Oh, we went to Cowan. I was at Daleville 2 years ago. I don't remember who. Oh, it was Jamie Tharp went with me. That was a fun one. They got an interesting gym there. Max Adams is the Jay County champ. He should have no problem with John Klein of Yorktown, and then there'll be a rematch between Adams and Ferrote potentially in that semi. What do you see at 126, Rex? I know you're looking at him now, too.
Dakota Springer at 31-2. I mean, he was class of the field at Jay County for the sectional.
Ben Mills does himself well by making it to the finals. He's already, I believe, has a win over Brody Zick of Muncie Central. I wasn't there for that meet, so maybe he was out. But Zick 17-13. Braden Salim from Burris is the champ on that side. I'd have to go back and look at the results from Delta and Belmont from last year to remember if Salim and Mills wrestled, but there's some familiarity there, at least for the Belmont coaching staff. I would not be surprised. I'll put my Homer hat on here. Would not be surprised if Ben Mills made his way back to the finals to wrestle Sprung.
That's definitely a possibility.
At 132, you're talking about Cale Beer and Jensen Boyd. That is your 2 Adams Central and Delta, your 2 sectional champions. And tell you what, Rex, I used to have a Jeff Heller-like memory, and I just don't have it anymore on some of these matches because I go to so many of them.
Pulls up his bag of records.
When I used to just watch, follow Belmont around and sit and watch, I could remember all of these things, and now I don't. It was a 24-5 tech fall for Jensen Boyd over Cale Beer.
Okay.
So that's a big gap to make up. But the good news is I think he's got Connor Fodick's number, and so he would make the finals. Boyd wrestles Luke Rubel, who did a great job to get out of the sectional. It's a rough reward there, but that's how it goes. At 138, your sectional champions were Jacob Unger of Cowan, last year's state qualifier, and Henry Ferrote, the 2-time state qualifier. Rex, I got a feeling that's probably your regional championship match there.
I think so. I mean,
at 138.
We'll see how Carr matches up with Unger. I don't know if those two wrestled. Has Cowan wrestled Adams Central yet? I don't think they have.
No, they did at the AC Invite, the one that you and I didn't broadcast but went to anyways.
Yeah. I saw
was
Carr
at that one.
Carr got defeated by the Homestead kid in the finals.
This says that he won by medical forfeit over Unger. We weren't there for that part, so that kind of throws that one out of the way. At 144, that's the weight class we've been talking about for weeks. I think you can expect Wyatt Mann and Sam Mosier to meet in the semis, Gabe Myers and Parker Barnes to meet in the semis, and you're going to have 4 great 144s, no matter who comes out on top. Don't forget, Sam Mosier is a returning state semifinalist, and he is ranked number 1 in our semi-state top 10 in the state of Indiana. And then before we go to the next break, Rex, 150 is Sam Wolpert. He is the runner-up at the top of the bracket there. I got a good match between Parker Nash and Wyatt Hops, Dylan Ogg and Jackson Teal down below, and Ashton Goney, a state qualifier. So you got 3 state qualifiers in that weight class and Sam Wolpert as well. So we'll take a break, and we'll go on with 157 right after this.
The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hirschy and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Packaged Liquors. Packaged Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Lane. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Packaged Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
If you're serious about taking your wrestling to the next level, then Warrior RTC Wrestling Club is the place to be. Every Sunday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6, boys and girls from different elementary, middle, and high schools come together to build skills, confidence, and lifelong friendships. With high-level experienced coaches and a positive training atmosphere, every Warrior learns to work hard and have fun doing it. Whether you're chasing your first medal or your next state title, Warrior RTC will help you in your relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Visit online at warriorrtc.com to learn more about the year-round wrestling opportunities and train like a champion.
You hear it all the time. Do you have the right insurance coverage? But are you really taking that question seriously? Josh Book may be stationed in his home office in Noble County, but he's ready to serve you if you're listening to this broadcast, no matter what county you're in, and help you get the best insurance for your farm, business, or home. A proud insurance agent with Farm Bureau Insurance, Josh is ready to have a conversation with you about the rates you're paying and the coverage you're getting. Give him a call and have that important conversation with an experienced Farm Bureau agent today. Find out more at infarmbureau.com.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille for our final segment here on the High School Wrestling Weekly. And Dane, I do have a few extra new swag shirts. I sold one the other day. So High School Wrestling Weekly shirts. So if anybody out there, I put another order in for some. So I got some in a bag. Come see us. I got a bag floating around someplace.
Did you get Tony Roman a shirt? He's looking for a shirt.
He can come get one. I got an extra one for him. He didn't order any. He was delayed. He didn't get his order.
Well, I jumped the gun talking about 150 in that last segment, so let's go back to it, Rex. It was, I don't know, did you think it was an upset that Goni got beat by Hops?
I don't know. I've seen Hops wrestle this year. I have not seen Goni wrestle. Hops wrestled a really good match. His first match back against Man, and they went at it pretty good at 50, but then Man down at 44. I know that Hops wrestled pretty close match. I don't think he wrestled Malachi Tholner at New Haven. I don't think but he did take a loss.
Don't forget that Sam Wolpert was neck and neck with Hops, and if it wasn't for a poke in the eye in the first period, Hops wouldn't have had his second option in the third period, and that really could have changed that match. Now,
I was someplace else.
Not that it really matters in the long run. I think the important thing to keep in mind for Belmont fans is that Sam needs to focus first off on the first match and get through. And then the beautiful thing about it is you just take your shot at those studs, and you're not going to see them at semi-state in the first 2 rounds. You're behind number 1, number 2, and number 3. That is a blessing from the wrestling gods when it comes to your semi-state draw, because you know that everybody else at 150, everybody is thinking, I have a chance to draw number 1 or number 2 or number 3. He's the only guy potentially in the entire semi-state who knows they will not have to wrestle number 1, number 2, or number 3.
Yeah, and 57 is the same way. 57 just gets really interesting there.
So if you go by the rankings, you're looking at Jackson Bradley and Charlie Farreau up top, Cowan and Belmont. Of course, Jackson Bradley, a 3-time state medal winner. He's ranked number 2 in the state. And down at the bottom, it's Mav Dubal, who is also a returning medalist. In the middle of that bracket, the way Joe has it set up, at least, I don't know how they'll print it at Jay County, but Eli Loshi will have a match against Isaiah Hudson. And so the Adams County boys could end up taking 3 there at 157 and joining Jackson Bradley. Eli Loshi looked good on Saturday, I thought.
Did.
So we saw Bradley and Dubois at Adams Central, and Bradley had the upper hand there and just kind of wore Mav down. But
you know, like I told Josh, he didn't see that match, but it's like it was 1 or 2 point match, and the next thing you know, he's up by 10. It it flipped that fast.
Yeah, like he found his route, and then he seized on that opportunity. But, once again, same thing that we were talking about with 150. There is a degree, especially when it comes to a pair of seniors. They both know that this isn't the round that counts if they do meet in the finals.
Yeah.
When it comes to Dubois and Bradley. And they can leave it all out there. And they're going to wrestle each other different in that match, in the regional final match, than they are going to wrestle it at, in the semi-state semifinals or the semi-state finals. So at 165, then Austin Manley for Belmont will take on Caden Shockney of Monroe Central. He was the runner-up. He's got a record of 26-8. We don't know much about him. We hope that Mr. Shockney knows that Austin Manley loves to single leg early, and we won't let him know any of his secrets, right? Nathan Plattner is the runner-up from our sectional. He's down there against Gus Witter of Delta. And we haven't talked at all about the team race yet, Rex. Belmont fans are going to be rooting, so are Adams Central fans, going to be rooting for Delta to drop a few more guys in that opening round.
Yeah, Delta's got the hammers. They got enough guys that they could easily win that regional with their studs.
And so a win by Nathan Plattner at 165, knocking off a Delta guy, would do everybody else a whole lot of good. Brayson Shorgan is your champ from our sectional. And Raymond Du Bois of Westell is 22-3. And Du Bois was not in the rankings, I don't believe, all year until the very last day when he got put in at number 12, I think because he was the number 1 seed. So our sectional guys seem to have the upper hand there at 165, and that's good news if you're an Adams County wrestling fan with Manley, Shorty, and Plattner. At 175, Wes Hendrickson is undefeated, the senior for Winchester, and he'll take on Nick Brewster of South Adams. And Brody Whiteman of Yorktown will have Owen Shane. And that one was a first period fall for Whiteman in the duel. I know you were at the other match that night. But I do want to point out that Shane was just getting used to wrestling 175 and had just come off like a week-long illness where he didn't practice, didn't go to school. So
I thought Owen wrestled pretty well on Saturday.
Yes, very much so. And I think a lot of people didn't realize how underweight he was. He's really a 50-pounder who's wrestling 2 weights up at 175. Xander Schwartz continued to look really, really good there. I think that's going to be a great finals with him and Hendrickson potentially there at 175.
He's one of those guys that people from outside this area are going to overlook him. They're going to look past him, and they haven't really seen him. But he's a big, strong kid, and he can make things happen.
At 190, I think your Adams County fans are just hopeful that the Adams County Adams County guys just keep on trucking, right? I mean, you've got 1, 2, and 3 there in our sectional. They all look to be favored to advance to the semi-state. And I wouldn't be surprised if it finishes in that exact same order.
It very easily could.
Again. At 215, Funk picks up the big win, and that sets him opposite of Luke Powers. So he'll hope that Jake Boots perhaps can knock him off in the semifinals. You've got the third and fourth placers out of both of those sectionals have losing records. So the guys who made the finals. Oh, no, actually, Alan Ortiz is the third placer. I'm sorry. So he would perhaps give the Jay County sectional 3 qualifiers there. Blake Christner, great job getting to sectional. He'll have a tough matchup there against Luke Powers. And then the 285s, Rex. And I think anything goes. I think Grady Baker is the clear favorite. He's the only guy ranked in the semi-state in that regional, and so obviously he kind of has a target on his back. But how many times have we seen it before? When you're wrestling a senior in an elimination round in the state tournament, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
You got to be ready no matter what your record is. Raekwon Brock from Muncie Central made the finals. We heard Casey Bradley talking about that, about his brother's young man, first-year wrestler, I believe he said there. But we were really impressed with what Spencer Smitley was able to do with the frame that he has as a 9th grader for Jay County. Ryan Beer will have Matthew Alberson of Winchester, who's 22-9. And I think a pretty decent chance for Connor Landis of Bluffton to advance and give the Tigers another semi-state qualifier. So, Rex, with that, we'll play a round of messages and be back with our special guest right after this.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hirschy, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hirschy or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grille. And, Dane, I think the judge just needs to come out here in person so it gets texting us the whole time.
He wants to make sure.
Dude, have a seat. Come on here and have a seat.
That he wants to make Belmont High School Wrestling greedy again.
Of course. He's got the shirt.
We're almost there, Judge. We're almost there. Well, hey, let's dial up our special guest here. I don't know how to work your fancy phone. There we go. All the way down to Madison, Indiana.
Hello?
Hello. Is this Pat?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
We are on the phone with Pat Mendez, class of '89 for the Belmont Braves and a former state qualifier. And we ran into you at Girls State, but we were so busy working we didn't have time to chat.
Oh, exactly. I was just trying to find my seat. I just wanted to see the matches, but I was happy to see you guys. You were really literally the first people I see when I entered the arena. Like typical. That's awesome.
Well, they give us a great vantage point, and when you've been to every location they've ever hosted the event at, they just kind of figure that it's easier to set up for you than to deal with your requests at the last minute.
Oh, cool. Yes, yeah, awesome. Hey, just want to let you know I'm on speakerphone. I'm actually sitting at my buddy's house. You might know him as Triple B on the Indiana map, or as my really good friend Dustin Bentz. He's a representative for the Wrestling in the South down here. So we've just been enjoying your show and just talking about. That's all we do is we just talk about wrestling.
That's the beautiful thing. And I was having this conversation with my son yesterday. That my favorite part. I took him to the arcade yesterday because he was born on the day of wrestling sectional 15 years ago. And we sat down to have a pizza at Pizza Hut, and I said, okay, this is what we do now. We talk about which match was your favorite, which match you think is going to go different, and that's a beautiful thing about it, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Hey, we're just congratulations to Belmont for sending all 14. That's quite an accomplishment. Yeah, we kind of wonder how Belmont would do at our sectionals because, man, our sectionals is a meat grinder. We have Franklin County, Columbus East, Columbus North. You throw in some other smaller schools with studs. We actually, Madison has 5 state-ranked wrestlers that we advanced 6. So, man, to send 14 at that level is pretty accomplishment. But man, we're just comparing sectionals, and we're excited, man. We're excited. That's all we talk about wrestling.
That's the beautiful part about it, right? Is that you can always compare and talk about which semi-state's the best and which regionals. But when it comes down to it, you got to beat the guy in the county next to you more than anything else, and that's the way Indiana's set up in just about every sport.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, hey, I wanted to, while we had you on the phone, I wanted to reminisce a little bit. I want you to tell me what you remember about the 1989 sectional that you competed in and eventually qualified for state.
Oh man, I tell you, there's no doubt Adams Central was pretty stacked at that during that time. It was pretty, we were getting ready. It was pretty. I I don't know, just to put it in what we went through, we just took it like every day, just like any other day, man. You just practice hard. You treat it like any other match. Nothing, yeah, it was great. Great to wrestle with Paul and Jeff Myers in the six pack. It was just a great time.
And you guys stay pretty close together, correct? In touch.
I think so. Yeah. Well, me living down here in Madison, Indiana. Yep. There you go. We see each other all once a year, and that's at the state finals. And it's always a great time to see those guys. We keep in contact from text messages, but for the most part, when we get together, man, it's a great time, and especially for state finals. At the Embassy Suites, it's pretty much a Belmont crowd, and just going from room to room, it's always nice to see that. So
it's always ditches us for the Belmont guys at state every year. So yeah.
Yeah.
So Pat, actually, somebody talked to us the other day and they said, "Hey, can you still use your 46733 zip code and still book a hotel in Indianapolis?" See, yeah, we think that's blown over by now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's no longer a problem, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, did you make it to a sectional yesterday? Were you there?
Yeah. We were at our sectionals at Madison at the Jennings County section. Man, we had 13 teams. Man, it was incredible. From the first round all the way to the finals, and even in the consolation to wrestle for fourth place. It was just a meat grinder over here. And then our level, and that's all we were just talking about, man. The last couple of years with the addition of Franklin County, Franklin Community, and then Indian Creek, and then it just happens to be where our guys are outstanding. Everybody else has a great team, and it was just a meat grinder. And it's just a wonderful thing to send 6 guys to at least our regionals to represent. But when we get to our regionals, we look to dominate again. It's just, from here on out, I remember just talking to other people saying that after sectionals, I always root for the teams that come out of our sectionals, at regionals, at semi-state, and at state. Anybody that comes out of our sectionals, we're rooting for. And, of course, I'm always going to root for Belmont. There's no doubt about that. And then,
yeah, we were talking about rooting against the one sectional on one Saturday, and then you're their biggest fans the next Saturday. You do always have pride in where you come from. Well, we'll have to get you two back on the show next week or the week after as we talk about the rumored redistricting that may be coming down the pipe here from Indiana.
Well, I tell you what, Triple B would definitely know about that. But, man, it's just we like to have a redistricting. It's like
we just need our shirts. I heard you guys hyping the shirts. We need the shirts down here to represent your show in the South.
Well, I'll bring a batch with me. If Joe and the boys have a meet and greet on Friday night, I'll bring a bag with me.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much for coming on the show late, and maybe we'll get you on next week. We'll talk a little bit more about semi-states.
All right. Thank you.
Love it. Once again, that was Pat Mendez, class of '89, state qualifier for the Belmont Braves, and Dustin Bentz, Triple B, in charge of the Evansville semi-state rankings for Indiana Matt. Well, always good to reminisce with guys from decades past and to get your perspective on what changes and what doesn't. Rex, great show tonight. Great broadcast yesterday.
Good wrap up.
And it gets us set up. Now, next week, we'll try to look at those semi-state brackets if we have them on Monday.
Yeah,
because next week's the Super Bowl. So
we'll probably do our show Monday night.
We're going to try to do that Monday night, and hopefully we are riding the high of a couple of girls basketball sectional championships as well this weekend. So lots and lots going on. Once again, WZBD will have full coverage of every Adams County team, along with Heritage and Norwell and Bluffton here over the next week in girls basketball sectionals. And, of course, join us on Saturday for full coverage of the Jay County Wrestling Regional. You've been listening to High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD.